Welcome to Halachot Niddah. This will be part 22 of the class, Separation During Expectation. Rav David Yosef Shlita in his Sefer Taharat Habayit will outline what exactly does a husband and wife have to separate from during the Onah, where she's anticipating for the blood to come. אין צריך לפרוש מאשתו בעונת וסתה אלא מתשמש המיתה בלבד. The husband needs to separate from his wife at the period when she's anticipating the blood to come, only from relations alone. A husband and wife are not allowed to have relations during the period when she's anticipating the blood to come. We've spoke about few periods that a woman has to be careful from. The Ona Benunit, Veset Haflaga, and also Veset HaChodesh. Comes Rav David Yosef Shlita and he tells us, during those periods when she's waiting for a period to come, the husband is not allowed to have relations with her. I was brought a case where the husband told me, Rabbi, I wanted to be with my wife during the Ona. He made a calculation in his mind. Is she a Niddah? No, because she's really Tahor. She still didn't see blood. So what did he do? He told her, check yourself to make sure you have no blood. So she did the Bidika. She saw no blood. Then they had relations. And afterwards, she went in and she checked herself again, and she saw no blood. He said, Rabbi, did I do anything wrong? I told him, you did everything wrong. This is why, Rabotai, we don't make inferences without knowing halakha. Just because she's tahor doesn't mean you're allowed to sleep with her. But he said, Rabbi, she's clean. So number one, not necessarily. She might have also been a nidah. When a guy sleeps with his wife, sperm enters into her. When she does the bedika, why does she see the white cloth? Why is it white? It could be even full of semen. Why is it white? And why can't she see any form of red? Because sperm dilutes the red color. So she might have gotten it, and she probably didn't see it on the cloth. Or she might have gotten it and it got stuck between the walls of the cervix. He doesn't know. She doesn't know. He says, Rabbi, do I have to do teshuvah for this or not? I told him the Pitach Teshuvah in Yoredeya brings down that you and your wife need Teshuvah and Kapara. You must do Teshuvah. He says, Rabbi, how do I do Teshuvah? Right? People think Chatat Aviti, right? That's all we think. We think, okay, Hashem, I'm sorry. That's the first step of Teshuvah. To go ahead and admit that what you did is wrong and feel regret. But you also have to make sure to make Gidarim, to make fences that this never happens again. So he says, how do I do it? You need to learn the halachot of Niddah. This is not a joke. You're dealing with karet over here. So a person needs to realize, having relations with your wife during the Onah, when she's anticipating for her period to come, you're not allowed to have relations. If you did do it, you need to do teshuvah immediately. Continues Rav David Yosef Shlita and he says, Aval, however, chibuk, hugging your wife, vinishuk, and kissing your wife, ushar kerivot, and other forms of closeness, mutarin min hadin, they are allowed according to halacha. From the halachic standpoint, they are allowed. That means if your wife is during her own benunit, waiting for a period to come, you can kiss her, you can hug her, you can have any other ways of being affectionate with her. You're allowed to mess around with her. You want to go and play around with her on the bed. You can do whatever you want. That's because she's tahor. The only thing we're going to tell you you're not allowed to do is to have relations with her. From this halacha, from the Shulchan Aruch, it's also halacha in the Shulchan Aruch that Rav David Yosef brings down. We see clearly, since he says you're not allowed to have relations with her, and you're allowed to hug her, and you're allowed to kiss her, and you're allowed to do other form forms of affection, things with her, that means I could even sleep with her in the same bed during her onam. Now, we'll see Rav David Yosef Shluta is going to say that even though that's permissible, nevertheless you want to be stringent. Why? Because just imagine for yourself, Reuven and Sarah are sleeping together in one bed during the ona. Let's say her ona is at night. That's when she's anticipating her period to come. Right? So she wants to be affectionate. You know, women always want to be cuddled, whatever. She doesn't want to sleep by herself. Fine. So now that Reuven and Sarah are sleeping together. What happens if she gets her period during the night? She's a niddah. You're not allowed to touch a niddah. That's why Rav David Yosef is going to say, since it's during the nighttime, or even during the day, if you guys both are going to fall asleep and we're afraid she might get it, and she's not going to feel it, so therefore he's going to say it's better to be stringent in the case of the sleeping. However, what happens if you want to just lay down with her? You want to just spend some time with her? No problem. As long as you don't close your eyes, so she's aware of her period, that is not a problem. All right? However, hugging her, kissing her, and other forms of closeness, of being affectionate towards her, it is mutar, it is 100% permissible according to the letter of the law. Even at the time of the vesed, because remember, we'll see Rabotai as we learn these halachot. Let's say if a woman received her vesed at 3 p.m. during the day, on the first of the month. So next time around on the Ona Benunit, let's say I'm just going to use one vesed. Next time around at the Ona Benunit, at 3 p.m., that's when she got it last time. We tell her to be careful for the whole, right, from sunrise to sunset. She has to be afraid for that whole time frame. But when did she get it last time? At 3 o'clock? Fine. So it's most likely to come 3 o'clock. Nevertheless, comes Rav David Yosef and he says, even at the time of the vesed, when she received last month, you're allowed to go ahead and cuddle with her, hug her, kiss her. It's not a big deal because she's still tahor and she still did not get her period. So he tells us, what does it mean b'shat vesed? Dahainu, which means to say, be'otah sha'a, at that hour, she'rigila lir'ot ba, where she was accustomed to seeing in it. Mutar min adin, bichibuk v'nishuk ushar kirevot. It's permissible according to the letter of the law to hug her, to kiss her, and other forms of closeness. Kol zman she'adayin lo ra'ata, as long as she still did not see her blood. Now, you might ask me a question, Rabbi, how can I hug my wife, kiss my wife, mess around with my wife and not want to be with her? That's a good point. That's a very good point, and that's what Rav David Yosef Shita speaks about over here. Again, all these halachot are inside the Shulchan Aruch in Yordeim. He says over here, "V'hamachmir lifrosh mishto be'onet vesta, av michibuk v'nishuk tavo alav baracha." But one who wants to be stringent and separate from his wife during the period where she's anticipating to get a period, even from hugging and kissing, he says, may blessings come upon that person. And this is what I want to read for you. Nevertheless, even though according to the letter of the law you're allowed to hug her and you're allowed to kiss her, here, this is the question that we asked. What happens, Rabbi? I know myself. If I'm going to go with my wife, I'm going to want to sleep with her. If you know yourself, that through hugging and kissing there is a concern, that he might come, he's going to come to chas v'shalom, spill seminal emission in vain. He should be stringent when it comes to hugging her and kissing her. So it really depends on the guy, and also depends on the girl. Because what if the girl, she also gets turned on, now she wants to be with you, now she's going to want to, drive you crazy, and then what are you going to say? No. So you really, Rabotai, you guys have to know yourself, especially the men, they have to know themselves. Especially when something is not allowed, the Yitzhar always makes it more wantable, more, he how you say, he raises the heat, he raises the fire within you to go and stumble, especially when things are not allowed. So we see from over here clearly, Rav David Yosef Shita tells us, according to the letter of the law, you're allowed to hug her, kiss her, whatever you want to do, as long as you're not sleeping with her. But if you know yourself that it can lead to chas v'shalom, zera levatala, we're going to tell you in this situation, he should be stringent. And so too, yesh lahachmir. Look at the language that Rav David Yosef says. And so too, one should be stringent. Shelo yishan im ishto b'mita achat. You shouldn't sleep with your wife on the same bed. Bikiruv basar be'onat vesta. With closeness of the flesh during the time of the period when she's anticipating to get a period. Why? Maybe she's going to see it during her sleep. She's not going to feel it. Ad orabok until the morning. That I comes out that he was sleeping with her at the time when she was a nida. So that's a problem. If somebody's going to be stringent not to sleep with his wife on the same bed during the time when she's anticipating her period to come, even though he is with his clothing and she is with her clothing, tavo alav beracha, may blessings come upon them. Summary: a husband is not required by law to completely separate from his wife during her onat veset, the expected time of menstruation. The restriction applies only to marital relations, tashmish amita. Regarding physical affection, acts of affection such as embracing, kissing, and other forms of closeness remain permitted according to the letter of the law, even during the ona itself, as long as she has not yet actually seen blood. Nonetheless, one who wants to adopt a stricter practice and refrains from any physical affection during ona veset is praised. Tavo alav beracha. Personal considerations. If a man knows that physical affection might lead him to impure thoughts or possibly to waste emission of seed, he should adopt stringency and avoid such closeness. Sleeping arrangements, it is preferable to be cautious not to share a bed in close bodily proximity, since she might begin menstruating during the night without realizing it until morning, resulting in them having slept together during her niddah period. Therefore, one who refrains from sleeping in the same bed entirely during onat veset, even while fully clothed, is worthy of blessing. Tavo alav beracham. Rabotai, have a great day. Baruch Adonai Le'olam.